It's not an either or as to the cause of these fires. It's a combination of factors that have come together kind of in the perfect storm.
In the face of record-breaking wildfires, some conservationists say it's time to talk honestly about how forest management has contributed to the blazes.
Imagine a campfire. We need dry fuel and we need to get it ignited. And then if you want to turn your campfire into a bonfire, we add extra fuel on top. We have the same scenario happening in our forests today. Climate change is making them extremely dry and flammable. But second of all, the legacies of our forest and fire management are adding fuel to our forests.
Lori Daniels from the University of British Columbia notes that historically smaller fires would burn off some of the kindling in the forests, preventing large blazes. But through much of the 20th century, Canada adopted a policy of total suppression. Controlled burns have since been reintroduced, but Canada is still seeing the legacy of that policy of total suppression. In addition, while the forestry industry has done what it can to reforest areas it's cut, that's had unintended consequences.
We have forests that are dominated by conifer trees with fewer broadleaf trees. Conifers are more flammable than those broadleaf forests. We've also got structures in our forests with even-aged forests with similar structure over large areas that's easy to manage, but also very easy to burn.
When it comes to forest fires, Indigenous peoples have long recognized the importance of smaller, more controlled fires and their ecological value, and also these smaller, more controlled fires as a necessary process as well, and as naturally occurring.
Miguel Siwi is with Wilfrid Laurier University. He's also a member of the Huron-Wendat First Nation. He says there's not just an oral tradition, but evidence in the earth from coast to coast showing Indigenous controlled burns.
The Haudenosaunee confederacies, which were culturally and linguistically related, they also traditionally use controlled burns in their land management practices. And similarly to the Pleacho Nation, they use these fires to regenerate forests, to create open hunting areas as well, and to attract species like deer, to facilitate hunting practices, and to encourage the growth of certain plant species like wild berries as well after a fire.
By the 1990s, Indigenous communities had begun reclaiming responsibility for forests and the land, and since 2017, the federal government has formalized funding for Indigenous guardianship and Indigenous protected and conserved areas. But Siwi says more needs to be done.
It's not just a goodwill act, really. It's the recognition of the profound ecological value of Indigenous environmental knowledge.
In Ottawa, Shaoli Lee, City News.